Welcome to Six Picks Music Club, a music podcast for people who printed out MapQuest directions. Well, hey, listener! Good to see you. Good day. Welcome back to Six Picks Music Club. Or just welcome if it's your first time and you're new to us. But if it is your first time, you have to pick. This is the podcast where me and my guys each pick two songs to fit the episode's topic. I'm your host, Dingus Dave, and with me on the road are the two stinkiest people you might find yourself on a long car ride with. To my left is the punk from Padre. It's ass-ripping Russ.
Hey, man. What's up?
And to my right, Mr. Leadfoot himself, Cheeto Fingers Jeffro.
Cheetos fingers?
Cheeto Fingers.
Am I known for that?
No, I was making up snack jokes.
You're onto something, though, because I do savor the Cheeto finger. Should I eat them? I leave them on my fingers and I suck the Cheeto off of my fingers every time.
Yeah, you're a normal American human being.
Everybody does that, right?
Everybody has to do that.
My oldest kid won't do that, and he cleans his fingers after he eats the cheese. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
Russ eats his Cheetos with chopsticks. It's bananas.
God, that makes so much sense, though.
Yeah.
I just totally get that. Like that checks out 100%.
Yeah. I'm really excited about our show today, listener and listener's friend. I think it's going to be really fun. Before we get too far down the road, though, we need the magic words to unveil the door behind the clubhouse. Who has the secret word today?
Blow your low ad on the road.
You got to keep your hands at 10 and 2 when you're blowing your low ad on the road. So let's everybody eyes down the road. Let's stay focused. Come on in. Parallel park yourselves into place. So today's topic comes from one of those things that's near and dear to all of us here at Six Picks, the road trip. Now, there's a couple different kinds of road trips to consider. There's the Denton to Austin 3.5-hour jobber. And then there's the Minneapolis to Shreveport kind of road trip. Either way, you're out on the interstate, just cruising along, putting miles in your rear view. It always helps to have something to pass the time, especially in those areas like West Texas, where there's nothing but the horizon and the occasional wind farm. Guys, what are some of the things that you all did on long car rides growing up to pass the time?
I'll tell you one. I'm good at driving and not falling asleep in general. That's a superpower of mine, just because I can keep my brain occupied. But one time on a road trip with my dad, I know I talk about my dad a lot, but he's an interesting and fun guy. We were going to go to New Orleans. I drove from Dallas to Shreveport. I picked Dad up. It's like 7 or 8 at night. We're going to cruise down to New Orleans and get there like at midnight or 1 and probably go out and party because it stays open all night. Check in the hotel late, go out and party, and pass out, right? There was a period of time where we partied together. When I got to Shreveport, he was like, hey, pull over this gas station. I was like, I have gas. And he was like, no, I need to grab something. And I was like, okay. And I pulled over and he comes back and he has a 12-pack of Coors Light. And I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, we're going to drink this Coors Light on the way down to New Orleans. And I was like, unbelievable, dude. And so against the law. He goes, yeah, but if you get pulled over and you get a DUI, you're with your dad, so it's not a big deal. And I was like, that makes so much sense. Like, because I don't have to make the call to him to be in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, it's just fine. And so that was one of my life lessons, that it's really only fun to drink and drive if you do it with your dad.
Still terribly unsafe, and not a recommendation from us here at Six Picks Music Club.
No, this is one of those things that this was like 25 years ago.
Sure.
I mean, DUIs were still a problem and were still expensive. But to be clear, we drank the entire 12-pack. We did not get a DUI. We didn't hurt anybody. Everything was fine. And we went to party that night, and I threw up in the middle of the night. So there's that.
I'm sensing a theme from New Orleans. I feel like there's a lot of vomit involved, but
Oh yeah.
Oh boy. What about you, Russ? What did y'all do on road trips to pass the time?
Man, I would just go to sleep when I was a kid.
Nice.
I would just
okay.
figure out where to stick my head and then just go to sleep. And then I would wake up and we would be there. That was it. That's how I did that as a kid, because road trips felt like the worst thing in the world to me.
Oh really? I loved them.
They felt so long.
This is the opposite.
We were road trip machines, man. My grandfather lived in Colorado and Denver, so we would drive up there every year, and it was, we would drive straight through, and it was like a good 14-hour drive. And we would always start off saying the rosary because we wanted to say prayers for safe travels. So we would go around and spend the first 20 minutes saying a rosary. And then we would play different kinds of games like the license plate game or the alphabet game. The one that has sustained and still is with us today with our kids is one that I picked up from Ultimate Frisbee. And it's the cow game.
Yeah, the cow game.
Where it's like you're driving along and you're like, you see those cows? Those are my cows. Every time you see a herd of cows, and you just mentally kind of accrue a herd. And then like, if you see a church or a meat market or a leather store, I guess.
Shoe store. Wasn't it a shoe store?
Shoe store. I think so. Yeah. You could say you see that shoe store, all your cows are dead.
Even the fun road trip games that Dave plays with his kids are about dying. I mean, like,
Well,
it's just 100% mortality 100% of the time in your house. Yeah, do you guys see this pork loin? It was removed from a dead pig. Enjoy. Yeah, I like Russ's road trip, like the way that this whole thing's about road trips. His road trip as a kid was just he had like a little Ziploc bag with Cheetos in it, and it was like hermetically sealed, and then he opened it and ate them with chopsticks, stayed clean, rinsed his mouth out, got a little
with a little Perrier.
Yeah, a little Perrier, a little fizzy water, then maybe some Scope, and then just laid down for a big old long nap. just smooth, clean road trip for old Russ. Meanwhile, I literally had a bean bag in the back of our van. So we were not wearing a seatbelt. And if there had ever been an accident, I would have just flown through the back of it. Like I just would be out. And I had a little TV that was like, I don't know, 6 inches.
Yeah.
And I could hold it while I was sitting on my beanbag and watch TV, and that was just the best, dude. And I had all the snacks, whatever horrible stuff I could put in my body because, we were not a healthy family, and just live the greatest life.
We took a road trip from Dallas up to the Pacific Northwest and did it for like 3 weeks one year when I was a kid. And I remember we were driving through Death Valley on the way back, and it was just hot as balls. And like, you can't run the AC because you don't want to run out of water because there's not a stop for.
Yeah, you don't want your radiator to explode.
Yeah, totally. So I'm just like sitting in the back of the Crown Victoria station wagon, which had like opposing seats facing each other.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is really a safe thing because in a car wreck, you're probably still just jackknifing into the bed of the station wagon.
Yeah.
I just remember sitting in the back seat of that car with like a water gun and just like squeezing it and shooting myself with this water gun in the shirt just because it was so hot.
God, that sounds awful.
I was gonna say.
And I didn't get to pick the music because I was a kid and I wasn't the driver. Best road trip I took was the one I went on with my wife about a year after we got married. We drove from Austin all the way up to Colorado and then over to St. Louis and then up to see Jeff and his wife in Chicago. And then we went to Lollapalooza and then we went to West Virginia and Cleveland and Nashville, where we ended up moving a year later. It was like a 5-week road trip.
And we ended up getting mud butt when in Chicago that time. We went to Lollapalooza.
Because you made us get the Dunkin' Donuts breakfast sandwiches that morning.
Speaking of fast food, I was like, hey, bro, there's a Dunkin' Donuts right next to our apartment. Let's just get an egg sandwich from Dunkin' Donuts. And then I swear it was like 30 minutes later, we took the train and got to Lollapalooza, and it was just like, oh no. Like, oh,
we've made a
boy.
mistake.
Because people are like, how are the porta potties shot at the beginning of the first day?
Day one.
Yeah, exactly. We definitely had liquefied downstairs. It was just a mess.
Back when I was working with the shark divers, we took this 3-week road trip tour.
Oh, yeah.
We get this
Yeah.
big RV and then
Winnebago thing.
Yep, and then just took it. God, we went to started in Galveston, made it through Georgia, up to North Carolina, and then hit a few other places along the way. Oh, Louisiana. it was like 3 weeks of rarely being able to shower and chumming the waters. And
Yuck.
that was a hard 3 weeks.
The life of a documentary filmmaker. Good God, dude. A lot of beers probably drank on that trip, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, that was the whole thing. We would stay up super late, then we would wake up super early, and then like get on a boat. But we always went out, didn't matter how choppy it was. I mean, there were tons of times that we were just like chumming the waters ourselves, and then and then doing the chum or so. Yeah, it was
Yuck.
Let me tell you one last story. One of my favorite, the funniest road trips was the Denton to Austin one that, I mean, I've done a million times. I've really made that trip like more than I've made any other trip. It was with Bobby, who you've met on the podcast.
One hit wonder Bobby.
One hit wonder Bobby. He had been arrested for something or other and then missed his court date and needed to file this court date extension by a particular time, which is ridiculous. And then he was supposed to have a lawyer write a letter about why he missed the court date. So, and I can only say this because it's 20 years later, but I wrote a letter on letterhead pretending to be his lawyer, which is very against the law. And and
impersonating an officer of the court.
Yeah, it was a really good letter. And we put it in, and it needed to be mailed and postmarked by that date. And we're in the middle of the trip from Denton to Austin. He goes, I forgot to send that letter. I have to get that letter in by the end of today. And I was like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? And so we got into Austin, and we just had to drive around and try to find a place to drop that letter that it would get postmarked on that day. And it was like 3:34, but we stopped, and there was a post woman that was walking and delivering the mail. And we walked it up to her and we said, hey, if we give you this right now, can you get it postmarked by today? It's really important. And she goes, what? Are you kidding? And I was like, not kidding. It's a legal issue. Is it possible that you can take this back with you and postmark it? Big favor. We would really appreciate it. And she was like, yeah, I can do it for you. That's the way that we resolved that.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? And it all worked.
What?
I think that's a great place to get started, though. So getting into that main topic, you got to start there at the beginning. And when I think of a road trip, every trip starts from one place and goes to another place. And based on these picks that we've got today, I think Jeffro's got the right idea for the first couple of miles. Why don't you put in those coordinates there, buddy? Where are we going today?
As we kind of mentioned, whenever I'm getting ready to go on a road trip, it is one of the best feelings. Like if I'm going to have fun somewhere, which is most of the time that I'm driving somewhere long distance, it's like going on vacation, going to have a good time, gonna go hang out with some friends on the way. And when you get there, I get so excited about it that I can't even like pack right. And I'm just overburdened by even getting the bags into the car. I just want to get the hell in there.
Yeah, dude.
And one song that I think that embodies that energy of like crawling out of your daily routine, like just unzipping your skin and crawling out and going to experience freedom is My Morning Jacket off of the album It Still Moves, One Big Holiday.
Yeah, man, I think that could have been one of the songs that F's, man, because, like, it's a boner song for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it really does feel like getting in the Corvette and just driving off the mountaintop, that kind of a song.
Yeah, totally.
This is My Morning Jacket's third record and probably their best one, though. Z 2 years later that's one of those things where a band is on like a 2-album just mind melter.
Just
like they were
heater.
killing it in that
Totally.
in that stage of time. I haven't listened to it for a while. I get just so much energy off of that shit, and I love there's that line in it. It's after he reaches his party destination. So he wakes up in the morning, somebody calls him, he gets out of this, he escapes the town, and then they go to this river place of some sort. And I like rivers. We've talked about that. But there's some shaking and some record playing. Dude, shaking and record playing's like all I want to do. That's all I want to do. Like, I wish I could go on a road trip and my friends are at the end of it and we just listen to records and shake it.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a hell of a trip. We should make that happen. I don't know why we don't.
We do
that.
need
Like,
to fucking do that, dude. We need to. It's time to all meet up and have a big party somewhere.
Yeah, man.
It would not be hard for us to get like a compound somewhere in the country or somewhere fun
Yeah,
and just invite everybody to go to it. Centrally located somewhere. We drive how, like, you know, my family probably have to fly in. Who gives a shit? We all just hang out in one big ass place for a week. That would be so much fun, dude.
That would be fun.
yeah, man. I think that would be great. I feel like I just saw that campaign in a Airbnb ad.
I think it's right though. I think that Airbnb ad is correct. It's probably Verbo because you get the whole house, get the whole motherfucker.
I do like the idea of my kids having a separate room. It's always just real weird to be having sex on the bed next to them.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever banged in the same room that your kids are in?
Come on, dude. Yeah.
After they're not infants. When they're infants, it doesn't count.
Well, okay, so maybe the younger one was still infantile, but the older one, she's a good sleeper.
Gross.
We started doing some traveling last year, finally, after that we thought, okay, the kids can probably handle it a little better. And we have exclusively only done like Airbnbs and things like that. No
Yeah.
hotels, just
Yeah,
The kids
hotels sucks.
always have their own room. It has been fantastic.
You can't just go and stay in a hotel room with your whole fucking family. Like, doesn't unless it's a suite.
Right. At the same time, you're going to be paying the same amount of money. It's kind of nice to have like a space. So
I feel like that used to be the case, but I feel like the Verbo thing is actually so much more expensive than a hotel
you
now.
have to look for the cleaning fees because like they'll hit you with like $300 for that.
Yeah.
But not everyone has it. So if you know what you're looking for, you can do okay, I think.
I think Dave's cleaning fees are a little bit more because they don't eat Cheetos with chopsticks and they're just banging the whole time.
Just covered in Cheeto dust.
The kids are covered in Cheeto dust and they're just trying to sleep through dad's heaving. It's a real mess in there. And then the cleaning people get there and they're like, my God. They get a black light out.
Oh no, don't do that.
No. It's like Basic Instinct. Oh, God.
It's like a paintball convention came through.
Though, did you hear that they want you to start checking for hidden cameras and stuff now?
What?
Yeah, so it's apparently that's a thing. So they're like, here are all the spaces you should be checking to see if there's like hidden cameras and other things like that. Yeah.
Everything now is about like people trying to get naked pictures of you so they can extort you for money. That's the world we live in, you know? And now here's the other thing. Somebody takes a naked picture of you, gets a nude or whatever. I've never seen a nude in my life, but if they got one and they're like, we're going to put it on the internet, just be like, dude, I'll just tell everybody it's AI. Like, who's, you know, and then everybody will just be like, whatever, who cares?
Right.
Totally.
So AI has maybe solved this problem.
Interesting.
Halfway creating the problem and then halfway correcting the problem.
Yeah, so it can make fake naked pictures, but it can also be a defense against real naked pictures, you know? Always cuts both ways, says the Zen master. Are we talking about road trips? And I will say about My Morning Jacket, I love 3 of their records very much, but seeing them live, they're a band that's so much better live that you can't really know how to love them until you see them play their songs live. Like their albums are like calculated, but their live show is just off the chain. It's like just guitars everywhere, and like he really sings like that, which is incredible. And they play like these like, I mean, this is not up Russ's alley, but long guitar solos that are like.
Well, I was just thinking, had that song come out around the time that Traffic did, they would have just turned that sucker down before it was finished, right? Because that was going on.
Yeah, they would have faded out 2 minutes before.
I like that solo. It was okay. It wasn't offending to me.
That song goes on, but
Russ is going to need a real D battery night to handle all those guitar solos we're giving him today.
That song goes on for a while, but if you're in the zone of it, you kind of like
Right.
that long.
No, I
letdown.
think it
it's-
works.
it's-
I was okay. It was cool.
Yeah.
I could definitely picture that even in the scene of a movie. I feel like half of it is like, how would it be like if you were actually on a road trip, and then the other half is, can you use it to like simulate a road trip in a movie? I think the answer was yes for both.
surely a movie has used that song for this purpose, right?
I don't know.
Dude, let's make that movie and let's make it where they go to a Verbo where somebody's got a secret camera and
just like
they
A
extort
poop
them.
coming out real slow.
yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I really dig that one. So, like, here we are on our trip, and we've stopped for gas, and next driver is going to be Russ as we continue on onto the midpoint of our journey. We're grooving. Seatbelts. Russ, take the wheel.
My song is called Making Me Nervous by Brad Sucks off of his 2003 debut album, I Don't Know What I'm Doing. The energy in that song is undeniable, but it's
Totally.
controlled energy. It's not like a thrashy punk song, right? It gets my head bobbing, but I'm not going to be jumping around to it. But it does make me want to like move. It feels like the beginning of an adventure to me. Every time I hear that song, it just makes me think that it would be a great beginning to something, which makes me think it would be a great beginning to a road trip.
Yeah.
In road trips, you got to have your, you have your ebbs and flows because you can't be turned up to an 11 the entire time. And otherwise, you just be exhausted. So I think it's cool. I feel like the playlist that is going on this episode might be our best playlist as a whole combined, because it feels like they actually could work together in a certain way.
Yeah.
Whereas most times I just completely derail them with my stuff. Brad Sucks is cool because he is a straight DIY musician, has been for over 20 years, recording all his own stuff, no label, and has really just carved out a path into the music scene for himself.
It's got that beat again with the driving thing that I think is really great. And even just sort of like the opening line, like, here we go.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, it's on.
Like, it just marks the beginning of something. Yeah.
We're headed out. I thought it was great. I really liked it. And Russ has done it again, listener. He has blown the doors off by actually reaching out to the artist that he picked, Brad of Brad Sucks. And he got him to come in and do an interview with us. Right now, we're going to welcome Brad Turcott, the Brad of Brad Sucks, into the clubhouse. What's up, Brad? How you doing, sir?
Not bad.
For a Wednesday.
Yeah.
So the Great White North gets a lot of love on the pod from Canadian artists as yourself.
Ooh, I'll take it. I'll take any nationalism that I can get.
Awesome. This week, our theme is going to be on road trip songs that you drive to. Like you head out on an adventure or you're coming home from one.
Oh, okay.
The song that Russ brought for us.
Yeah. If you start making me nervous, it feels like the beginning of an adventure. And it kind of is, because it's like the first
Yeah.
song off your first album, and it just created the adventure of like your career.
Oh,
which
that's
is
awesome.
super interesting. You have carved out a place in the industry for yourself, right? I mean,
Oh, that's a nice way to put it. But yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I started like home recording pretty early on and doing like internet stuff back when that wasn't the main way to do it.
One thing that I am so tickled about is that you have a cassette on your site selling called Loss Leader that you did for your Patreon subscribers.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like bananas to me that cassettes are coming back like vinyl did 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's so strange. People have more turntables around than they do cassette players, because people
No, indeed.
will be like, "Oh yeah, absolutely, I'll play this vinyl on my turntable," and then they'll see the cassette and be like, "What am I supposed to do with that?" And then I go, "It comes with a digital download code. Don't worry about it."
What's your relationship to physical media like these days?
Not much, really. I mean, I mostly have piles and piles of my own physical media. So I'm one of the largest Brad Sucks vinyl collectors.
Very nice. Any advice that you can give me to tell my wife that it's okay to fill our family home with more vinyl?
Oh yeah, like of your own or of other people's? Because if it's your own, you can say it's a business and you have to do it. But other people's, I don't know.
It's a tax write-up.
Yeah, this is all merchandise, actually. This is making me money, honey. Which isn't true, but
let's get into some of your music. You were letting the internet crowd remix your songs for a while. Tell me about that.
I really liked getting other people's creativity involved and stuff like that. And also as like a music nerd, I always wanted to hear like the insides of songs. I wanted to hear like, what do the guitars really sound like in there? Or what are the, how does the mix work of like commercial artists and music that I really liked. So then I decided to just give away the stems or the multi-tracks so that people could do whatever they wanted with the tracks. And I was thinking, that's cool. It was like a little embarrassing to have your vocals out there all all raw and letting people do whatever. And then that took off pretty good for a while. I don't know. I found it really strange to listen to a lot of them. And then I started getting like a little self-conscious because almost everybody would like speed up my vocals. And then I was like, am I singing too slow? Am I like, is that a note from the public that I'm a lazy singer?
No, that's funny. Do you do any collaborating with them, or you just find it after the fact?
Pretty much just find it after the fact. Some people message me and ask, is it cool if I do this? And I'm always like, yeah, as long as it doesn't require any effort from me, feel free. Most of them, don't really do anything. But then there's a few, like there's a big Brazilian remix of Making Me Nervous that's got, I think it's coming up on 2 million plays on Spotify. And so it's weird when those things take off. It's basically been the same my whole career, is that it's very unpredictable. And anytime I delude myself into thinking I have a master plan or the solution, I am proven very incorrect. And then something random and weird happens. Like that song Lonely, it's in a cartoon called Bee and Puppy Cat. Like I wrote that. That was like a commission thing. And that cartoon's very popular. And it was on YouTube, and lots of people love the scene that the song's in and everything. And I was really happy to be part of that. And then they announced that the cartoon was coming to Netflix. And I was like, sweet, I wonder if my song's going to be Netflix. But nobody had talked to me about it or anything. So it showed up on Netflix. The song wasn't in it. And I was like, crushing blow.
Dang it.
Damn. But then on the Bee Puppy Cat, the cartoon, the subreddit, people went nuts with like, why isn't Lonely in there? And then my streams spiked on that song for like a year straight.
Whoa.
It like doubled from not being included. So I was like, okay, whatever. That's cool. And then recently, Making Me Nervous has been in like a national
The Lexus commercial.
And so that came out of the blue, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be huge. And like, I've probably heard from like every person I know who's very impressed, but hasn't made a dent in the streaming numbers. Like there's been, you can look at the line on Spotify and nothing has happened. But I've received more excited emails from people who know me and know the song or are fans or whatever.
That's hilarious and tragic. Tell us a little bit about your new album.
This new record that we've been working on is the first one where I've been working with the band that plays live.
I was going to ask about that. So this is the first time you've been in the studio with other musicians. So how has the process changed? How is it different? How's it going?
It's cool. It's very different. These are songs like, I'm always writing demos and stuff like that. So these are kind of songs that I brought into the band. Like some of them are like over 10 years old. We would often play them at live shows. And then I've tried a couple times to start this project like this. I've never done like live recorded drums before. Like I've never successfully added them to an album. And I just, every time I tried to do it, I just couldn't get it sounding the way, I don't know if I had a specific way I wanted it to sound, but I think I tried twice fully to like start recording this project and just being like, oh, it sounds like shit. I don't know. The guys in the band play amazingly. Like they're all better musicians than I am, better players for sure. I just couldn't get it to gel or to sound like a recording. And so this time around, we did a lot of rehearsals, and I raised a bunch of money so that I could like hire some people who knew what they were doing. And so I've got pretty good beds now, and now we're just tracking over top of it.
That's awesome.
So new album's coming out August or September. The Indiegogo is 100% funded, but you never can have too much money, especially when you're creating something like this. So, as long as it's open, I think we should plug it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, you can still contribute for another. I think they close it after nobody's contributed for like, I don't know, 4 weeks or something like that. So people have been still dropping by. We were selling cover songs for $500 each, and we have something like 12 to do.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So we're trying to work through that backlog right now. Find me on the internet. I'm always plugging whatever the latest thing I'm trying to get people to pay attention to.
Okay, last question. When you think about songs, when you're hitting the road, when you're just out on a drive, what are two of your picks to make sure you get on the playlist?
I don't know if I have two, but I've got one that I love a lot. Is a Ministry song called Jesus Built My Hot Rod,
Yes.
with vocals by Gibby Haynes from the Butthole Surfers. That's probably the roadiest song.
I love that track.
Yeah, that one rocks pretty hard. And there's like an extended mix as well that's even wilder.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear what you guys pick.
Oh, yeah, man. It's been a real pleasure to talk with you today.
Well, thanks so much, guys.
Thanks for coming on, making time for us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Nice to meet you guys.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Well, heck yeah, Russ. I really dug that.
I just want to point out to the listener that the full interview with Brad from Brad Sucks will be available on the same day this pod comes out, so be on the lookout for that. All right, Dave, go for it.
All right, I'm up. It's my turn to drive. And this pick for me is right after just from my car, has hit the drive-through and we're finishing our sodas and looking for the last couple of bag fries or whatnot. And we're almost to our destination. And this is like the exciting part for me. This is like, okay, we are about to get to the place we've been going to all day. This is where the fun starts. This is my favorite part. This is my favorite part of the trip. And one of the reasons why I picked this song. So the one we're going to listen to as we close in on our destination is Everything in Its Right Place by Radiohead from their 2000 album, Kid A. It's like the first album that came out 3 years after OK Computer, which was this global phenomenon, this masterpiece of a record. And it was met with a lot of anticipation. Everyone was like, okay, what's this Radiohead's album going to sound like? And there were so many people that were just mad about it. Like they didn't like it because it didn't have the guitars, it didn't have Johnny front and center, like really shredding and really rocking it.
Bunch of toot bags, all those people.
Indeed. Toot
Just
bags.
open your fucking ears for 5 seconds and just take something in that's different.
That's my middle name, by the way.
Russ Toot Bags.
That's it.
Oh, does it have a guitar solo? Well, this doesn't have guitar solo, so it's perfect for you. It's genuine. It's raw. It's
Yes.
vulnerable.
Holy shit, we're gonna make Russ the Radiohead fan.
GRV. It's got all that.
This is a song that's great for me because this is the first record that they released when I sort of knew who they were. I got introduced to this band by someone else in college and wasn't really familiar with any of their stuff. I was instantly a fan and I played it a lot. The reason why it's a good road trip song for me is because that Thanksgiving after it was released, my brother came back from college, or maybe he was in the Navy at that point. Either way, he was coming back to the house and we were going to drive out to my uncle's for Thanksgiving. The whole family. He's got a big ranch out in Midland and, everybody piles into the barn and it's just so much Jim Beam. You literally lose part of your soul. But so I'm driving out to Midland with my brother and it's the middle of the night. It's like 11 or whatnot. And, driving through Abilene and all these really small podunk kind of parts of Texas that just, there isn't really anything there. And it's pitch black. So like we're listening to this record while everybody else is asleep in the car because it's so late. My mom and dad are out. They'd just come back from a scout trip or something. And we like listen to it cover to cover without speaking, just like driving through the West Texas highway. And then at the end of it, I looked over at him and I was like, do you want to hear it again? He was like, yes. And so we just started it over. And I always remember like that trip with him being this moment where we had connected on something musically that was new and original. Like he introduced me to the other band I'm going to talk about later. And this was one of those cool moments with my brother. So I always love this song.
That's nice, dude.
And it's one of the party tricks that I can do. I learned how to play it on the piano. So I can't really even play Scott Joplin's The Entertainer as well as I'd like. But this one, I can do this one.
night driving to Kid A. It just puts
Yeah.
you in like a different.
It was like a fucking spaceship was landing in front of me. I was blown away. It was amazing.
If you're traveling at night and you're tired and that's playing, I feel like I would just be like,
See, dude, I'm the opposite, man. I like all the textures of that album, like that shit will keep me awake. You get to national anthem and it's do 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 do, and it's like rocking you, and then Idiot Tech fucking rocks you, and just all the like cool bass lines and interesting time signatures and all that stuff. I hate that I'm about to say this, but it creates like all these mental landscapes.
And your mind is so vast. It's like, that's a lot. That says a lot. 'Cause
I
you're
know.
So
I
smart.
hate that. It's the best way to describe it, but just that it actually like gets my brain juices flowing. That album, even though it's somber sounding, wakes me up.
There's a really great read of Ed O'Brien's diary that he kept while they were making Kid A and Amnesiac, and I'm not going to talk about it right now, but we'll get you the link in the show notes, listener. So do give yourself 5-10 minutes and go check that out because it's really interesting. Well, so that was a really great trip. We had so much fun. We're there, but it's the last day, and kind of like Russ's pick from the Ween episode, the wheels fell off, the bottom dropped out. Yeah, you know the rest. But let's just say we had a great time, and now it's time to head back home. And we're a little weary-eyed. We've got some new memories, though. We've lost a couple as well. But Jeffro's got the first leg of the drive. Sun's not even up. It's a long day. And we're slipping out before dawn. So what do you got in your coffee there, Frodo?
I have raindrops and tears in my morning coffee. I was always having to like get ready for Monday, you know, because I was a serious student. And so I always had to leave early on Sunday morning after the hardcore party that was going on Friday and Saturday. Wake up early, go get the coffee, and then zone out on the way back. And feeling a little wistful, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm going to listen to Led Zeppelin's Rain Song off the 1973 album Houses of the Holy. Russ, what's the song clock in at? Is it 6.5 minutes?
no, 7:39.
Ooh. Ooh, it's long.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. And this is the part that drives us crazy. They're just Jimmy right here. Ding, 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 ding. Just take another 15 or 20 seconds to end it.
It's like you had the perfect off-ramp right there.
You're on a road trip, so you can listen to a 7.5 minute song while you're feeling your feels, replaying the montage from the last couple of days.
But it's still got a good little rock and roll piece to it. You know, I feel like it's a great first song of the day to kind of get going with. And yeah, if you're waking up to this one, I think that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it also rocks. And cool last stanza. These are the seasons of emotion, and like the wind, they rise and fall. This is the wonder of devotion. I see the torch we all must hold. This is the mystery of the quotient. Upon us all, a little rain must fall. Just a little rain. Oh, yeah. Oh, ooh. Yeah.
Poetry.
It loses me at, so I think it's okay. You know, you could tell that Robert Plant, this is 51 years ago, by the way, crazy to think about that. But you could tell that he has a kind of a high opinion of his own writing at this point. But this is the wonder of devotion. That's fine. I see the torch we almost hold. Also fine. But then this is the mystery of the quotient.
Yeah.
What? Okay, now we're just
Okay.
using words.
That's the one that got me too. I was like, was it quotient parentheses 2x? Like, is that how he wrote it on the lyric sheet?
Yeah, 2 times quotient. Say quotient here. Yeah, but also what's he talking about? The mystery of the quotient? What? And then upon us all, a little rain must fall. Yeah, I guess.
I mean, get an umbrella, guy.
Yeah.
Come on, Rob. Where's your umbrella?
But yeah, this is the springtime of his lovin' is what he's ultimately talking about. That's what's carrying me home after my glorious party trip where I was shaking and record playing.
Heck yeah, man. I do really love that song. Okay, well, I'm going to keep us going, keep these vibes going. We are almost to lunch. It's been a pretty easy drive. And, we're going to keep the cruise control on. We're just going to keep putting the miles behind us. We'll stay in the right lane, except to pass. And this track is going to take us there. And that's a song off the 2007 album by the band Wilco on the album Sky Blue Sky. And this song is Impossible Germany. Yeah, Russ, really sorry about all of the guitar solos today. It's
Like you guys said earlier in an earlier episode, how can we hurt you if we don't know you? And I had to say something about guitar solos, and once I did, all we have are songs with epic guitar solos playing now. Yes, I understand. It's your passive aggressiveness coming right at me for something I did.
we found it. Yeah, no, but it really is an epic thing to see them play this live, because Nels Klein is just like such a freaking monster for this band. It's like this is the first album that he plays on with the band, and he's still playing with them today. Also, Pat Sampson, the most multi-instrumentalist, anyway, Pat plays with them too. And
I'm abandoning the word. Forget it. I'm not even going to use it.
Fuck that. Cut that one. Cut that one. Yeah. Well, and so like I was talking to my brother at one point. I was like, I think Nels legitimizes Wilco as a rock band. And, they've come from this sort of alt country roots to just like be this dad rock thing. And I love it, man. I guess that's another thing that's kind of similar about my picks is that this is the first record the band put out after I'd gotten introduced to them. Like I didn't even really listen to Yankee Hotel Foxtrot very much. And I just I knew that my brother liked him and they put out this album. And it actually came out 2 weeks after my wife and I went on our first date. And then 3 years later, we get married.
Hey, on that first date, did you guys touch tutors?
No, we touched mouth parts.
Oh, you went mouth parts date number 1?
Yeah.
Just a couple of little sluts with a gleam in their eye.
We went mouth parts on night 1, like not even first. Then we planned a date after that. It was like, yeah, that was way fun. Keep coming. Keep going.
Okay.
That's a slip.
And you're like, one day we'll be banging next to our daughter together.
And I'm going to tell everyone about it on a podcast.
I'm going to tell everybody about it on a pod.
Oh, Lord. Love is just a mysterious bird. That's for certain. But so this is a band that I love. They're one of my rock heroes. And this is the album that really kind of cemented that for me. And again, like that Radiohead record, a lot of the diehard, Yankee Hotel Foxtrot or Nothing band fans didn't like this record. I think Pitchfork gave it a 5.2 or something in 2007. And then even just in 2021, they posted a revision, like they did a revisionist review list and bumped it up to an 8.5. And they're like, yeah, we didn't really see what we were talking about here. But no, I love this record. And I think I've seen this band more than any other band.
It's called Sky Blue Sky. You haven't mentioned that yet.
I mentioned that with the open in my intro.
Oh, I just wasn't listening.
Yeah. Just like the song says. Anyway, I love that song. I love Wilco. And you're probably going to get another appearance from them from me. But one of the things Tweety said about this record, he got nervous about the technology on Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. And if you need to have a certain amp or a certain pedal to make a song with what it is, then it isn't a song. I thought, all you idiots don't know what you're talking about. I got into an argument at a bar with a girl who said that to me. She was like, it's not Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. And yeah, I think we ended up screaming at each other and we did not exchange numbers.
Wow, that sounds toxic.
Yeah, that was my alter ego. That was Mavid talking for sure.
What are you even talking about, bro? Sky Blue Sky rules. And she's just like, I don't care, okay? I don't care that much.
Yeah, I was definitely the
Why
guy.
are you fucking yelling? Just leave me the fuck alone! Jay's like, no, I need to convince you. Let me convince you.
No, I walked away. I was like, there's no changing you. You're an idiot. That's fine. I'm okay with that. We don't need to exchange numbers or saliva. That's fine.
So what's our last road trip song?
Russ, we are 5 miles from home. It's your turn. You've been driving for the last hour, and we are ready to get out of this freaking car. We're not even going to unpack tonight because, like, we're just ready to get home and relax and, like, drink a beer. Bring us down the home stretch, bro.
All right, man. My song is called Eastbound and Down by Jerry Reed from the 1977 movie Smokey and the Bandit. So, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, that song explains the entire plot in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty much it. Funny factoid, did you know, I was trying to figure out, I was like, was Atlanta dry at that time? I didn't understand. You know, I saw the movie tons of times when I was a kid, but I was trying to figure out what the whole thing was. So I don't know if you guys know this. It's Coors, and it couldn't be shipped east of the Mississippi River because it had to be transported cold, and they didn't have a good way to do that. And so Coors was essentially illegal to be transported east of the Mississippi. Anyway, so the whole movie was about Coors not being able to be shipped, but not because they couldn't buy any other kind of beer in Atlanta. It's like two rich assholes.
It's like they just wanted
making a bet. Okay, so I was trying to decide when we came up with the road trips if I was going to use this song for the beginning of the road trip or the end of the road trip. I always started this song on each way, so I was like, well, whatever. But once I found out that Jerry Reed had done like a kind of an alternative take for the beginning of the movie when he called it Westbound and Down, I thought, all right, I'll end with this one because why not? Because that's kind of funny too. Going back to the road trip. After college, I left to try my hand at some filmmaking. Needless to say, that didn't happen, right? Not well anyway. I did the filmmaking, but I'm not doing filmmaking now. I'm doing podcasts. So it's you know, but during that time I left Austin. I left my future wife also in the process. I didn't leave her, but I left her physically.
It's like, whoa, when did this happen? I was like, no. Yeah, but yeah, I remember.
And that goes to show you how smart I'm not. And while I was away, I would make frequent trips back to Austin with my buddy Steve. This was the age of the iPod, but sometimes we would take Steve's car, and that was back when you needed to have, they didn't have the auxiliary plugins. You had to have the actual iPod plug to go in, that you had to have the right head unit to do that. Anyway, so I would make these mixed CDs, but his head unit could play MP3s. So I would make these mix MP3s, right? So you could get like 150 songs or like 10 hours on something on this. So it was almost perfect for going both ways.
Oh, you go both ways?
AC/DC, baby. I would start the mix with this song because it was just silly and kind of a fun song to like kick off the journey or whatever. And because in my experience, road tripping anywhere, generally to Austin, involved lots of partying over a short period of time and little to no sleep, and then getting back on the road in rare form, you want to have like a song that can just kind of kickstart the engine and go, I think. And that's always kind of like, okay, cool, that's fun, I'm feeling good. And then we would generally pre-trip at Zach's with the Bloody Mary bar, Dave, right? I mean, this is how it would go. We would blow into town,
that's right,
probably once a month or something, and then like
they had just such a good Bloody Mary bar.
Yeah, we would just like party all night, and then we would like start the travel day at the Bloody Mary bar and just drink until 2, and then like take it on home, which is that was fun. It was probably not safe, but it was fun.
God, that sounds like a good time.
No, it was a great time. Those were great times. But yeah, eventually Russ moved to Houston, which was a little bit closer, and saved a couple hours on that trip, and then finally made it home.
Made it back home. It took 10 years to get back.
10 years, man.
10.
I love that. I love that part in fucking whatever that movie is.
It's in Grosse Pointe Blank.
Yeah, I love that in Grosse Pointe Blank with him.
Well, so we know that like I'm not nearly as big a country fan as, let's say, Dave is, but you know there are a few songs here and there that I think that that are there, and I was thinking back of like thinking about this song and thinking about just country in general, and I thought, do I have a country album that I like? And then when I was a kid, I remember my dad, he bought like the first CD player from some guy, and it came with like, the guy sold this like little boombox CD player. It was probably 1991 or something, and it came with like 10 CDs of like whatever, and one of them was Clint Black's Killin' Time, which is funny. I'm like, man, and so I used to listen to that as a kid because it was like the only music that I had access to at the time, and I probably haven't heard it in 30 years. Anyway, so I played the album like yesterday. I was curious, like I want to hear it. And there is absolutely no reason why I should like that album. It goes against everything I stand for when I listen to music. But man, damn it if I just wasn't like, yeah, I like this a lot, which is kind of funny. So that's nostalgia for you. Anyway, so
That's
Eastbound
fantastic.
and Down is a complete nostalgia pick for me as well. It just reminds me of being a kid. It reminds me of road tripping with Steve and coming into town and hanging out with my future wife and seeing Dave. And it just reminds me of a really fun time when like there was little to no responsibility and we just had a ton of fun.
Caution to the wind. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, man.
Dude, I miss fucking just hanging out and doing fun shit with friends. Damn it.
I think that's the thing that I really loved about this topic is just sort of like the nostalgia of it, like what a road trip means to me, just growing up with them and then just doing them with my kids. You know, taking that trip with my wife and our dog, it was just sort of like I wanted my dog to be able to go on the car for a while because it's like we're gonna go across the country, dog. She was a good road tripping dog, that's for sure. So yeah, great job, guys. Those are awesome picks. Well done. Oh, hey, listener, shoot us your favorite song for the road. You can shoot us a message on the contact page of our website at Six Picks Music Club, or for you folks that are catching us on the YouTube vids, drop us a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe, Six Picks, to stay on top of all of our shenanigans. And don't be afraid to tell a friend. We'll keep adding on to the clubhouse. We'll keep accommodating extra people. So thank you, boys. It's always a pleasure. It's good to see you. Until then, play aloud and keep jamming. This episode of Six Picks Music Club was produced by Drew Peacock
Drew Peacock.
and Mike Ropine. I like Mike Ropine.
Mike Roping?
Ropine.
Mike Ropine. It's a bit more subtle, I would say, but good.
Yeah. With special thanks to Dixie Rex.